I thought surprising my fiancée with a promotion gift would be a beautiful memory. Instead, it became the day I learned she was a stranger. My name is Ben. I'm 35, and I work as a senior architect in a bustling firm in Chicago. For 3 years, my world revolved around Isabel, a 30-year-old graphic designer with a smile that could disarm anyone and a laugh I used to think was my favorite sound. We met in the most cliched of ways, in a coffee shop near my office. I'd spilled my latte all over her portfolio, and instead of getting angry, she laughed, saying the splatters added a certain ne sais quoi. I was a goner from that moment. Before her, my life was a series of blueprints and deadlines, a comfortable but lonely existence. Isabel brought color and noise and a whirlwind of emotion into my meticulously planned world. Isabel had a vast social circle, but her closest confidant was a woman named Rachel, her college roommate from her days in Boston. I never had a problem with their friendship. In fact, I encouraged it. Rachel had visited us a handful of times, and she always seemed perfectly pleasant, if a little reserved towards me. Isabel said Rachel was just slow to warm up to people, but sometimes I caught a look in her eye that felt more like quiet judgment than shyness. Isabel had been freelancing for a while, which was often unstable. We'd lived together for 2 years in my condo, and I'd been covering all our shared expenses without a second thought. My career was well established, and money wasn't a pressing concern. Still, I believed deeply in her having her own financial footing. It was about independence and pride. I gently expressed that once she landed a stable, full-time position, we could split things more evenly, and she'd always agreed. This past Tuesday, she called me, her voice bubbling with excitement. She'd been offered a lead designer position at a prestigious agency, a role she'd been coveting for months. I was incredibly proud. I decided to leave the office right then. I told my partner I had a family emergency, drove to Tiffany's, and picked up the delicate silver bracelet with a small, engraved compass she'd pointed out months ago, saying it symbolized finding her way. I then went to her favorite Italian place, grabbed a feast of takeout, and bought 24 pale pink roses, her favorite. I came home through the garage, planning to hide the bracelet box among the roses for her to find. As I stepped into the hallway from the garage entrance, I heard her voice, animated and loud, clearly on a video call. I paused, not to eavesdrop, but to savor her happiness. And then I heard Rachel's name. I leaned against the wall, a smile on my face, ready to hear her gush about her new job. But she wasn't gushing. "It's just such a relief, Ratch," she was saying, her voice laced with a mean-spirited glee I didn't recognize. Honestly, the weight off my shoulders is insane. Now I can finally start building a real savings and not feel like I'm living on Ben's charity. The word charity felt like a physical blow. I'd never, ever made her feel that way. I'd framed it as us being a team. "God, I know," she continued, laughing. "He's so predictable. I bet you anything he comes home tonight with Italian food and those pathetic pink roses he thinks are so original. It's like he's following a How to Be a Good Boyfriend handbook from 1995. I felt the blood drain from my face. The takeout bag in my hand felt suddenly heavy and absurd. "And the sex," she went on, and my heart stopped. "It's fine. It's comfortable, like a reliable appliance." My ex, Jason? Now that was a man who knew what he was doing. Ben tries so hard, it's almost endearing. He's like a golden retriever, enthusiastic, loyal, but not exactly a depth of skill there. I stood there, frozen. The man she described wasn't me. It was a caricature. I'm not some unskilled, predictable simpleton. I'm successful, I'm passionate, and in the bedroom, I've always prioritized her pleasure, always made sure she was satisfied. To hear her reduce our intimacy, something I thought was deep and connecting, to a comparison where I was found lacking was devastating. The worst part was the lie of it all, the performance she'd been putting on. I must have made a noise, a sharp intake of breath, because her voice faltered. "Hey, I think I heard the garage door. Gotta go. Love you." The call ended abruptly. I didn't move. I heard her footsteps approaching. She rounded the corner, her face a mask of feigned surprise. "Ben, you're home early." Her eyes darted to the flowers and the takeout bag, and for a split second, I saw a flicker of something, guilt, triumph, I don't know, before her perfect, cheerful mask slid back into place. I didn't say a word. I just looked at her, the woman I was planning to propose to at the end of the month, the ring already hidden in my sock drawer. I saw the stranger underneath. I turned, walked back to my car, and drove away, leaving the food and flowers on the garage floor. I drove to the lakefront and sat there for hours, watching the gray waves churn, feeling like the biggest fool alive. The text started almost immediately. "Hey, where'd you go? Is everything okay? Then, you're worrying me. The food is getting cold." Followed by, "Ben, please answer. Did I do something wrong?" I didn't reply. I couldn't. For 2 days, I stayed at a hotel, telling her I had an unexpected out-of-town site inspection. I was numb, cycling between white-hot anger and a grief so profound it was physically painful. I loved her. Or rather, I loved the person I thought she was. My friends, when I finally told them, were unequivocal. "You deserve better, man. She's a snake." My sister, whom I've always been close with, was even more furious. "After everything you've done for her, the support, the love, she's a user, Ben. Get out." And so, I resolved to do just that. I would end it, but I needed to do it on my terms. On Thursday evening, I asked her to meet me at a quiet, upscale lounge I knew she liked. It was public enough to ensure safety, but with secluded booths that offered privacy. She arrived, dressed to the nines, glowing. She'd been extra affectionate over text since the surprise, clearly thinking my distance was just work stress. "You look handsome," she said, sliding into the booth and immediately reaching for my hand. "I've missed you. Let's have a quick drink and go home. I have a few ideas for the evening." She winked. My stomach churned. I had rehearsed this. I took a steadying breath. "Isabel," I began, my voice quieter than I intended. "These last 3 years have been the most significant of my life. I've shared things with you I've never shared with anyone. I trusted you completely. I saw a future with you, a home, a family, everything." Her smile was radiant. "I see that future too, Ben. Every day." I held her gaze, my own hardening. "Then why did you tell Rachel that our life together is charity? That I'm predictable and unoriginal? That our sex life is just fine and can't compare to your ex's?" The transformation was instant. The color drained from her face. Her smile vanished, replaced by a stunned, wide-eyed stare. "What? I never said that. Ben, no. Rachel loves you. She knows how much I adore you. Don't," I said, my voice low and firm. "Don't insult my intelligence. I came home early on Tuesday. I heard you. I heard every word." She shifted tactics, her eyes welling with tears. You misunderstood. I was stressed about the job, and I was being stupid, trying to sound cool in front of her. It didn't mean anything. You know I love you. I think you're incredible in every way." The performance was masterful. If I hadn't heard the casual cruelty in her voice with my own ears, I would have believed her. The tears seemed so real. It meant something to me. I said, my heart feeling like a block of ice in my chest. "The things you said were cruel and, frankly, lies. I can't be with someone who disrespects me so fundamentally," to her closest friend. "I can't build a life with someone who wears a mask." The tears stopped. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying we're done. I'll drive you back to the condo." You can pack a bag for yourself and your cat. My sister will be there. You can get the rest of your things this weekend while I'm out." The disbelief on her face was almost comical. "You're breaking up with me? Over a stupid, private conversation?" It wasn't stupid to me, and the fact that you think it was just confirms my decision. The pleading started, then the anger. "When am I supposed to go? My new job starts Monday. You're going to make me homeless. You have friends. You have Rachel. You're a strong, independent woman now, remember? You don't need my charity." The bitterness in my voice was new, a flavor I didn't like but couldn't suppress. Then came the true colors, blazing and ugly. "You self-righteous bastard. You think you're so perfect? You're boring, Ben. Your life is a spreadsheet. You plan every single detail. It's suffocating. I was dying of boredom. Jason was exciting. He was passionate. You're just safe. And yes, safe is boring in bed." She stood up, her chair scraping loudly. "You'll die alone in one of your perfectly designed houses, and no one will care. I never loved you. I loved the security. You were a placeholder until something better came along." I looked at her, at this beautiful, venomous creature, and I felt nothing but a profound, weary sadness. "Then I guess we're both free," I said quietly. She let out a sound, a guttural scream of pure rage that silenced the entire lounge. Then she flung her wine glass against the wall, shattering it, and stormed out. I paid the bill, left a massive tip, and apologized to the stunned staff. She was outside, shivering in the chilly Chicago wind. Despite everything, the instinct to protect her, to care for her, flickered for a moment. "Let me drive you back to get your things," I said, my voice flat. She just nodded, seething. The car ride was a silence, so heavy it felt like a physical presence. My sister was waiting at the condo. Isabel packed a suitcase in a furious, haphazard way, her cat carrier in hand. She shoved my key into my sister's hand without looking at me and left with a friend who pulled up outside. The text began that night. A roller coaster of "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it to. You've ruined my life. To I hope you get everything you deserve." I didn't respond. The next morning, I texted her once. "Your remaining belongings will be in boxes on the porch. You can pick them up between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. today while I am not there." The silence from her felt more ominous than the texts. I went to work, my focus shattered. When I returned home that evening, I unlocked my door and stepped into a nightmare. My home, my sanctuary, was obliterated. She had gotten in. I later remembered a spare key she'd made for a pet sitter that she'd never returned. She had taken a knife to my leather sofa and armchairs, gutting them. My large, framed architectural prints, some of them limited editions, were ripped from the walls, the glass smashed. My collection of vintage drafting tools, inherited from my grandfather, was scattered and broken across the floor. She had poured red wine over my off-white area rug and into my desktop computer. In the kitchen, she had emptied the entire contents of the refrigerator and pantry onto the floor, a grotesque mosaic of spoiled food and broken jars. The sink was clogged and had overflowed, leaving a pool of filthy water on the hardwood floors. The only shred of humanity she showed was locking my elderly dog in the guest bathroom with food and water, safe from the chaos. I stood in the wreckage, not crying, not even angry, just hollow. This was the final, undeniable proof. The woman I loved was a fiction. The real Isabel was capable of this petty, destructive, childish violence. I called the police and filed a report. I took hundreds of pictures for insurance. The officers were sympathetic, but said without direct evidence, like a video of her doing it, it would be a he said, she said situation. I knew pursuing it legally would only drag out the pain. In a moment of pure, unadulterated pettiness, I went online and found a service that delivers bags of manure for gardening. I had 10 large bags delivered to Rachel's address in Boston, addressed to Isabel. A symbolic gesture for the person she truly was. The furious, all-caps text I received from an unknown number confirmed they'd arrived. I blocked the number immediately after. It's been a week now. The insurance adjuster has come and gone. The cleanup is underway. The emotional cleanup will take much, much longer. I question myself sometimes. Was I too distant? Did my focus on work make her feel neglected? But I always come back to the same truth. Nothing I did or didn't do could ever justify such calculated cruelty and wanton destruction. Her actions were a reflection of her character, not a reaction to my failures. I am a good man. I am a loyal partner, a dedicated professional, and I will be a catch for someone who values honesty and respect over drama and deception. The compass bracelet is at the bottom of a landfill somewhere, and that feels fitting. I may have lost my way for a little while, but I've finally found my true north again. It's time to rebuild not just my home, but my life from the foundation up.